Hey everybody! I know I'm supposed to start rolling here, but I am doing a first time live, so I'm just checking out the controls here and making sure that everything is working. So I see the numbers starting to climb, and I'm just waiting for the link to pop up so I can join you guys with the comments. Glad that you guys are here and hope you're excited to learn something new, hopefully. Hi, Austin from Pennsylvania. Hey, Caroline from Illinois. All right, comments are coming in. Nice to see you guys. Thanks for being here. All righty, there's my live version on the other page. Alrighty, so folks are rolling in slowly but surely, so I'll go ahead and get started and introduce myself. My name is Kate Landacre, and I run Caitlin Bakes. That's my small sugar cookie side hustle. I don't feel like I quite put myself in the official small business category yet, but I do have a full-time job and I do cookies on the side. I've technically been doing this for a little over 5 years, but for the first few years, I really just did it for family and close friends. And my first job out of college required me to move every year. I was in this early career program that required me to rotate jobs, so it was hard for me to build a strong clientele. So I'm now permanently located in Northern Kentucky with my husband. He is from here, and this is where my first job rotation brought me and how I met him. So we moved around for a few years, and now we're back and glad to be here. And I've had the chance to build my local clientele over the last year and a half, so that's been really exciting. Hello to everyone who's giving comments. Nice to see you guys. Hey Amanda, CookieCon Rumi, so excited. Don't want to spend too much time on CookieCon for those who won't be able to make it, but if anyone is going, I will be at the Orlando CookieCon, so can't wait for that, and hopefully I'll get to meet some of you guys there. And hey to Katie in Scottsville, awesome. I still, I'm from Virginia originally, so a lot of Kentucky is still new to me. People will mention, this road or that road or this town, and I'm still learning, but hello to you and to everyone for being here. So we've got about 25 folks so far, so we'll go ahead and get diving into the content, if that's okay with you guys. So what we're doing today is talking about how to create cookie cards, tags, and printables in Canva, which is a free software, and then how you can download those pictures and put them into Microsoft Word or any kind of document processing software and print that out at home. So I will put that out up front. I do have a printer at home, and everything that I make, I print from home. So if you don't have a printer yet, I would highly recommend you consider investing one. It's been great for me in my business. And one of the main reasons that I opted to do that rather than printing in bulk and buying from somewhere online is because in Kentucky, our cottage food laws require that we have every ingredient listed. We have a statement that we have to have about being a home-produced product. And we have to have our address, everything like that. And I enjoy making lots of flavors of cookies. I have a classic sugar cookie, which is my most popular, but I enjoy, the baking process as well as the decorating and the creative side of it. So I have a lot of flavors, and I needed the flexibility to be able to make and populate my own labels at a moment's notice, if an order comes in for a flavor that I offer that's not my classic flavor. So I bit the bullet and invested in a printer. It's, not super fancy. It's an HP. I can get the model if anyone's interested, but it does a good job for home printing. And like I said, I needed that flexibility, so that gave me the options to then start printing cookie tags and cards and things like that at home. And I really enjoy the creative side of the whole cookie business, not just the baking and the decorating, but putting those nice touches on things. Like Fresia has kicked off with us, so I watched her live on the bows, and I saw a lot of people commenting about how she made her tag or where she got it, and I kind of felt like I had hopefully some knowledge to share with folks, and so I reached out to the twins and got this set up, and there's Heather. Hey girl, hey. So yeah, hopefully you guys can learn something from this. If just one person takes away something, that's good enough for me. I know there have been a few other lives that have popped up since mine was scheduled. One with Belinda, who did one with the Avery template. That was really cool. I didn't know that existed, so I've checked out the Avery site, and that's definitely an option. But I do actually have maybe some pro cons of that versus Canva, just in my opinion, so you can take that for what it's worth. And then Lauren did a quick intro to Canva, so hopefully if you guys are brand new, you watched her live or watched the replay and have kind of gotten familiar with the software. She seemed to do a little bit more focused on graphics and things you can share on your social media, but it's a great platform and you can use it for just images and printables and all kinds of fun things like that. So hey to everyone still trickling in. I haven't gotten any comments about noises or volume levels or anything like that, so hopefully that's all in good shape. Please let me know if any of that is an issue. My internal volume button is kind of broken, so sometimes I can get a little loud, but let me know if that's a problem. And I'm just over here checking out your all's comments on the side, so sorry for the double taking that you're getting, but thanks again for being here. And if there's no questions about me to get started, then I guess we'll jump right in. Stay hydrated. And I'm going to turn you guys around and hopefully not turn off this live. All right. So unfortunately doing this from my computer, you're a little zoomed out. I'm not going to try and zoom in and out. I will try to focus on the highlights, but again, hopefully you guys will get into Canva and really just play around. There's so much to do and so much to learn. And if I didn't already say this, I am by no means an expert. So if anyone, has a tip that can help everyone out, or things that you do a little bit differently, there's certainly more than one way to skin a cat, so we can all learn together. And then before I forget, if you guys are watching the replay and you have comments or questions, please make sure you put replay in those comments or questions, and hopefully I can address them. All right, before I dive in to Canva and get focused on that and not the comments, I see a question from Kendra about my full-time job and how I manage my cookie side hustle, and that's a great question. If you stick around for a little while, I'd love to address that at the end, Kendra, so I don't get too sidetracked from the content here for folks joining for the packaging reasons. I can also be a little long-winded, so if you guys stick around with me for the next 30 minutes or so and then want to hear about how I do that, I'd be glad to answer that for you. And hello, Fresia, Bo Queen, happy to have you here. All right, so let's dive into Canva. I am doing this from my computer. So I've just opened up a Chrome browser and entered canva.com, and that'll take you to the website. The nice thing about Canva that does differ from the Avery Templates website that Belinda did a live on is that Canva also has an app. So you can download it on your phone, you can download it on a tablet. So I love that because it syncs your account and you can, design things on the go. Maybe you are on a long road trip, or you're just in a situation where you have your phone or a tablet and not a computer. You can get in there on the app and it's just as easy to use as the online version. So you can have all of your designs available. If creativity strikes you, you can do it just about anywhere with the app version. I did get on the Avery Templates design space today, and I didn't see that option, so that might just be one thing that pushes you, towards Canva versus Avery. It's not competition by any means, but that's definitely one thing that is on the pro side for me. So when you open Canva, if you already have an account, obviously you're going to be logged in. I am demoing the free version today, so once again, for anyone who missed that, this is the free version. So you don't have to do anything but have an email address to sign up, and that creates an account for you. And like I said, it saves your designs and, keeps everything tidy for you. But they do have a pro version, which is $120 a year, or $12.99 a month. So if you go ahead and pay for a full year, you can, save a little bit of money. And I think when Lauren did her live, some comments were made about student and teacher savings. I do have a pro account, and it's with my old school email address, my .edu. So I do have both. The pro version does have some nice things that you can do that you can't do in the free, but obviously if you're going to pay, hopefully you're getting something that's worth it. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the free version, and if you guys have questions I can answer about the pro, or I may point out things that you could do with pro that you can't see today, but there's that. So the first thing I want to focus on is designing a cookie tag. So like a round tag that you might punch out and put onto either a single bagged cookie or on top of your thank you cookie to go with your box of cookies, anything like that. And if you're seeing some of my designs here, you can see some of my older ones. So when you have the home page, you have all of these great design options and templates. And really what all these different things are just pre-made sizing that work well for whatever that intended design is. So you can choose from them here, and you can also customize the size. So that's what we're going to do today. You can start here, and you also have a drop down where it says create a design. And if we click on that, you'll also see the different template options here. And I'm not sure if you can see it since I'm zoomed out, but if you hover over the different suggestions like presentation, card, Instagram post, there's different sizes here to the side. So an Instagram post is, most beneficial at 1080 by 1080 pixels. And then a card, since that's going to be printed out, it's 7.7 by 5 inches. So that just gives you an idea of kind of how those templates vary. And like I said, they're just pre-sized so that you maximize whatever it is you're trying to make. So we're actually going to customize the size. And when you do that, I was playing around earlier, so it's pre-populated it for me, but this will be blank when you first start on that, and then you can enter in whatever sizes you want. You can also change from inches to pixels to millimeters and centimeters. So we're going to do a 2-inch round circle-shaped tag, and I've actually sized our canvas to 2.05 by 2.05, and you'll see why once we download the picture and pop it into Word so we can print these out. So you get your sizes set and create the design, and it's going to open up a new tab for you. And like Lauren showed us, hopefully, again, you guys are a little bit familiar with the Canva website, but it's very user-friendly. You can get in here and play around and not worry about messing anything up, but there's lots for you to see. I'm going to rotate just a little bit. So you have a pane over here on the side that has pre-designed templates. It has elements, which are going to be your graphics and pictures and shapes and all those fun things. You can upload your own pictures, so like your logo or something you design yourself. And then you have a text option. You have styles, which are pre-sorted kind of color and text schemes. Those are fun to play around with. And then there's a few more options. You have photos, audio, video, etc., all kinds of fun things. One thing I want to mention quickly about the styles, in the pro version of Canva, you can build yourself a brand kit. So you can save your, logo, text, or font, whatever font you use for your branding. You can save your colors so that when you're in here designing things, those are ready for you in like quick access. So everything that you make, stays on brand. So that's really cool. And that's one of the neat features of the pro version. So like I said, we're going to make a quick cookie tag, a 2-inch cookie tag. So I made my 2.05 by 2.05 canvas, and then we're going to start by dragging in some elements over here. So in the elements pane, you can search anything you can think of, try putting it in and see what comes up. What I really love about Canva is the options you have and the different styles. I don't know, it fits me a little bit better than just kind of your standard clip art type things. There's fun elements like paint splotches and dots and backgrounds and patterns and all kinds of fun stuff. So get in there and search, and you'll find all kinds of cool things. We're going to start with the circle as our guide. So you can enter that into your canvas space by either clicking and dragging, and you can also just click and it will populate. And all of the things that you put into your canvas will have a box around it once you click on it, and it's got handles here where you can resize. So if you resize from the corners, you'll resize it in proportion, and if you resize it from a centerpiece with the smaller bars there, you'll change just that aspect to either the width or the height. So we're going to take this out to 2 inches, and you can see in the center there we've got a guide that says where it's at. So 1.9, 2 inches. And we've left ourselves just a little bit of margin so that when we download this picture and then pop it into Word to fill the sheet and print a whole page of them, we have a little bit of margin for our punch cutter. So once you've resized, you can drag the element around, and hopefully you can see, but there is a purple line. If you can't see it here, I promise it works when you're in the design space, and it is just a positioning guide, so it'll let you know when you've centered that. All right, so I'm working on back to school designs, like I'm sure many of you are, so I thought we could make a back to school tag today. So this is gray right now, and this is a little sad, so we're gonna go up here to the color, and we're gonna add we're going to change the color of that circle. So like I mentioned, that brand kit is really awesome if you have the pro version, so you can put your own colors in there. You can choose from some already pre-made colors, and then you can also go to the box up here and add a new color. Now, because I'm in the free kit, I don't have, or the free version, I don't have the brand kit available, but I do have my brand colors on a post-it note over here on my desk. I keep those handy. So we're going to use one of the pinks from my logo. So if you also have your brand information, you know, your colors and fonts and things like that, you can just type that in and get to the exact color you want. So I like that feature because even though I'm not paying for this version, I can still, you know, get everything to match and line up with my branding. So we'll go back to elements. One other thing here on the circle, sorry, you've got other options here on this element. The toolbar up here will change depending on what type of element you've selected. So up here you have transparency, so maybe you want this to be more of like a background rather than a, you know, a full dark shade, so you can mess with that. And then there's some other things that you can do once you have more elements in the canvas. You can group things together, so you move them around together and things like that. All right, so I said we're going to do back to school. So I'd already picked out this little planner, but before I get there, I'm just going to show you some of the cool things that you can find. So literally, like I said, if you think about an element, you just type that in and see what comes up. So I typed in dots, and now we're seeing all these cool different ways that, you know, dots can be used. And I just like that these are cool and funky and I guess trendy. Any of the ones that you see that are free are obviously going to be free, and then the ones with the crowns are the pro version. So you would have to have the paid version to use those, but there are tons of options in the free space, so don't let that discourage you. One of the other fun ones I found was this one. It's just kind of like paints and dots and cool elements. And the other cool thing is if you find elements or graphics that you like and you want to see things that are similar to it, when you're in the element pane here and you hover over that graphic, there's 3 little dots in the right hand corner of the picture, and if you click on that you have a few more options. So you can add this to a liked graphic, so if there's something simple that you might think you'll use a lot, you can save it and make it easy to find again. And you can also click this option, the third option that says see more like this. And well, rats, I've picked an element that doesn't have more like this, but there are some other, usually there are other elements, and of course I'm demonstrating so it's not going to do it, but you would see other things that are you know, similar in style to that. So if you wanted to pull in a couple of things, it gives you like cohesive options. And then one other thing before we get back to the actual back to school designing, I'm not seeing the colors. Hold on one second. I'm going to put in a different one. So when you drag something in, if you want to, move it, obviously you can. And then as long as you have that element selected, it's around, the paint splatter is not my circle, I can delete it and remove it. So I had already searched school, but I'll do it again just so you guys can see what pops up. So there's different things here. And some of them are more like realistic photos, and then you have like the, the graphic elements, some that move. So those could be fun if you're actually designing something for Instagram or Facebook. But look until you find something you like. And then again, you've got the free version versus the pro. And I'm just going to try this one more time to hopefully prove I'm not crazy. So yeah, now this is pulled up. This is called Magic Recommendation. So if you hit those three dots and click on the see more like this, now it's given me more fun, colorful, school related things that are all by this same designer. So I'm seeing some questions, so let me pause for a minute. Kendra is asking if my logo was designed in Canva, and what if a logo was designed outside of Canva? How would you get the color's name? So my logo was not created in Canva. I actually did it old school in like Paint or Paint 3D, whatever comes on a Microsoft computer. So I'm real high tech over here in Kentucky. But when you're designing in an app like that, or if you have Procreate or those kind of fun things, when you're picking the color and in like the let me go back to a color to help describe this and not sound like a crazy person. When you're in that color picker and you move it around, this is that, I think this version is called a hex code. There's a couple of ways that colors can be defined online. So I'm moving out of the realm of what I feel comfortable saying accurately, but if you Google like color, color picker or color designation, there should be the hex code, and then there's like the RGB color version. So that's the best advice I can give for that. You can, play around with colors in here if you want to design a logo in Canva, or you can, figure it out with the color picker if you're in another app. And if you're paying someone for a logo, they should definitely be able to give you your color like swatches, if you want to call it that. So we'll go back to my pink real quick, and then I'll answer a few more questions. Nanette said, my graphic designer is going to give me all my info like that when she gets done. Yes, perfect. So if you have someone doing it, they should definitely be able to give all of that to you. See more elements, Heather. Well, yeah, when you have a twin, you do get to have someone else pop up. Let's see. Stephanie asked, can you load your own image, or do you have to use what is available in Canva? So you can absolutely upload your own images. It's here in the upload section of the menu pane, and you can click there and upload media directly from your device, from Facebook, from Instagram, a Dropbox, or Google Drive. So if you already have pictures or you have your own little clip arts that you create, you can definitely populate those. And some helpful comments have popped in from Courtney and April, so you guys can check those out. April says if you have Pro, it'll automatically generate the colors from images you've imported. Yes. So the next thing I was going to get to is another cool feature when you choose elements that are in Canva already. April's saying it works if you pull in an image as well that you upload yourself. But back to our school tag here, I picked these cute little notebooks, so I'm going to make those a little bit bigger. And you can see up here, now we've got several colors that make up this image. So you can click on those just like we did with the circle, and you have the ability to change these as well. This is cute and it's driving with my color scheme, but if you wanted to use this but change it up and make it match your branding a little bit better, you can click on each of the elements, or excuse me, the colors here that are in the element, and then you can change those. So everything that is now currently this maroonish color, if I go down to black, if you notice, it changed those over. The same with this orangey color. So now I've selected that, and I want that to be this like light gray. That was just like the background there on the spiral, but I did make a very pretty change. So yeah, you can mess around with the colors yourself and tweak a graphic that's already there. So you may like the way it looks, but you want to make it a little bit more stylized to yourself or your brand. You can do that too. So that's pretty neat. Also, you've got undo, just like you do in most software, designing landing pages. You know, if you do something you don't like it, you can go back. And also, Canva is saving everything you're doing. So if you do this and you walk away, or you have to close out of your app, it's going to save everything you've done, and you come back to it quickly, so you don't have to do a bunch of work and then panic that you didn't save it. I made that black, and that's fine. I'll just leave it like that. Again, when you drag it around, you can find those center lines, and now we'll throw some text in here. You can just put in a normal text box. Really, if you add a heading, a subheading, or it calls it a little bit of body text. It's just what the text looks like when you first put it in, but you're basically just giving yourself a text box. I don't find a difference in using these three because I'm going to change it anyway. But you do also have some styled text options already from Canva, excuse me. So they'll have cool things that you could you say you like the way this looks, you can use that, but then just change the text to the words you want it to be without actually having to mess with the styling of the font and the colors and the layout and all of that. So I would recommend you explore this just as much as you do, you know, the graphics and the elements and that kind of stuff. But we'll just throw in a regular text box. And I realized that this whole time I could have zoomed in a little bit for you guys. Sorry about that. So we've got our text box, and now we can add, let's say, happy first day of school. It would help if it actually typed. There we go. Happy first day of school. And once you select all of the text in the element, again, we've got the blue lines around the text there, so we know we're working with that. You've got all of your font options, and again, you've got free ones and then ones that are available in Pro. So as you scroll down, you'll see them. If the font name is bold, you're able to choose it, and then if it's kind of more transparent with that crown next to it, that comes with the Pro version. The Pro version also has the option for you to upload your own fonts. So again, if you have very precise branding that you want to stick to, and you pay for a font that you can use liberally, you know, you can upload that in there as well. But there's a lot of great options in here. I generally always find something that I love. You can scroll through, and then you can also type. Now on the fonts, you're going to search a style. So for example, handwriting. And it's going to take you to all the fonts that are similar to a handwriting style. Or if you like, you know, serif, then you'll get all of the serif type fonts. So something to play around with as well. And it'll give you suggestions up here as well. So display, bold headings, you know, something for text or a paragraph, etc. So I always like the handwriting styles myself. And we'll click and make sure all of our text is selected again. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then we know it's going to change all of it. So there's apricots, which is, that one's pretty cute. Brittany is one I use a lot, but it's pretty scripty. So yeah, if you have a font like this, and I put in a line break to get it spaced out like this, but you can see they're kind of squished together. So you can change the letter spacing and the line spacing, so we can spread that out, and shrink it back. You can change how far apart the letters are as well. So lots of ways that you can take what's there in the system, but then customize it to your own style and happiness level. So I'm going to go back to apricots just because it's already 8:30 and I am blabbering. So thanks for sticking with me this long. We'll shrink that down to the way it was. And one other thing I'll show you on the text. So we picked a font we like, and we're going to close this out. And you've got the color options up here as well. And then you also have this effects tab in the toolbar. So you can do cool things like give it a background, like a shadow. You can also make it hollow. This is better for like those bold fonts, but you can make it just like an outline, and then you could duplicate it and give it like a shadow, all those fun kinds of things. There's a neon one, which is pretty cool. And then you can also do curved text. So for us, obviously that's not as applicable. I could stretch that out and make the happy first day of school go all around my circle. But you know, get in here and play. You can make that, you know, as big or as small as you need to, but I don't want to do curves on this one, so I'll just go back to the regular. And I think I'll make this white and see what that looks like. And let's go give it, there we go, a little bit of lift behind it so it stands off of the little notebooks. Oh goodness. All right. So maybe not the cutest thing I've ever done, but it works. And hopefully you guys are getting a good idea of all the different, you know, elements and ways that you can manipulate things. So we'll go ahead and pivot on to how you download and then how I print these. So again, this is saving as you are going. Now that I've put in text, it's automatically named this file Happy First Day of School, but you can go up here and change the file name if you want to. And if we were to exit right now and go home, hopefully I didn't just jinx myself, but there, it's populating Happy First Day of School now in my saved designs. So we'll give it just a second so Canva doesn't crash on me. And we'll open it back up, and there we go. So when you go to download this, again, remember we designed this with the idea to print this as a tag to put on, you know, cookie box gift sets or like single cookies. So we'll go up here to the download button, and it's going to suggest what type of file you should download it as based on what you've created, but you can change it. You could make it a JPEG. You can make it a PDF, all these different things. Again, if you're making like a fun video graphic for your Instagram page or Facebook page, you can do that. And we'll just stick with the PNG. This was touched on in Lauren's live, but again, if you have the Pro version, you can automatically check this and it'll download with a transparent background, which might be good for certain types of cards and like logos especially. But since we're going to punch this circle, we want that as a guide for us. So we're happy with everything as it is, and we'll click download. We usually get a little fun ad here because we're on the free version. But it popped up here on my downloads, and now I have this on my desktop as a file. So I'm going to pause for questions and see if we have any related to Canva before I move on. Jessie was running late. That's okay, girl. We all have life. She says, I use Canva for my quote-unquote real job, and my coworkers think I'm a genius. That's great. Work smarter, not harder. It is a fabulous tool. Jennifer is asking the best way of printing these, so hang on tight, Jennifer, and I'm getting to that. Joanne asked, any way I can make this more clear or in focus? I'm not sure if you're talking about my screen and I guess what you're seeing on your phone. It's probably because I'm zoomed out and using my laptop here. I'm not sure how to answer that question, Joanne, but if it's something I can do on my end, put in another comment and I'll do my best to help. Kendra's asking when we'll get to see her print them. So again, hang on tight, everybody. We are getting there. No, Heather, there is not a life outside of sugar cookie marketing, but we all try, right? And Melissa's running late too, but yes, definitely check out the app version. It's great. You can do it on your phone, your tablet, or the desktop. So everybody is anxious and ready to go see us print, so we'll move on. How I print all of my graphics and my cards and stuff like that is with Microsoft Word, because I have a Microsoft HP computer, not a Mac, so whatever is the Mac version or the Apple version, go for that. But whatever word processing tool you have, I go there. So I've got a blank Word document here. And all we're going to have to do is insert our picture that we just downloaded to our device. And again, if you missed the beginning, I said this from the get-go that I do have a printer at home, so everything that I do is designed with that in mind. You could create the graphic and then upload it into like an Avery template type website or something and have them print if you don't have your own printer, but I love having the ability to make and print all my own stuff at home. So if that's not a tool you have yet in your cookie business arsenal, I recommend saving up and investing in one. You can get a lot for fairly inexpensive these days. I also have the HP ink subscription. I don't remember exactly what it's called. It might just be called HP Ink, but for $3 a month, $2.99 a month, I get 50 or 100 pages, and I swear to you, I print probably 200 pages a month, and I never get overcharged. I don't know how they track it via, I guess, Bluetooth to the printer, and they just send me ink cartridges when I'm running low, and it comes right to my door. I don't have to go to Staples or wherever, and I can recycle and send back the empty cartridges, and it is great. So I would recommend that as well if you are in the market and researching different options. So we've dumped the tag into Microsoft Word, and one thing I like to do, because I am cheap and I like to utilize the most of my materials, is I like to maximize and make sure we're using the most of the page possible. So in your Microsoft Word toolbar, you can go up to the Layout tab and then click on the margins, and already have a custom setting, but normally you start with a 1-inch margin in every direction, and I shrink that down to 3/10 of an inch in every direction. And I also flip my orientation to landscape, and this way I can get 15 tags, circle tags per sheet, rather than like 10 or 12 if you just left everything as is. So Vesna says, I'm not cheap, I'm frugal. Thank you for that. Whatever it's called, I just like to maximize my materials and waste less. So, for those of you asking about the subscription, yes, I think it's called HP Ink. I will do some digging here before we end and figure out what it's called. Does it have a box? Oh, Instant Ink. Hold on one second. The box is over here. Detour from the printing. Hang tight, guys. Hello, it's me again. So HP Instant Ink. I bought an HP printer. It is the HP Office Jet Pro 8025. 99% sure I got it from Costco, because let's be honest, I buy everything at Costco. It's a good home printer. It's not anything fancy. It is an inkjet, not a laser. And if you are a printing person, you can probably argue one way or the other which one's better, but it gets everything done for me. I haven't had any issues with it. And like I said, the Instant Ink subscription is great because you pick the level that you want, and there's different price points based on how much you think that you're going to print, and then it can adjust. So let's say you pick the 50 pages a month or whatever, and then you're actually printing more, they can bump you up, but just for that time frame. So because I bought the HP printer, it came with it for free for like 3 months, and then I bought the lowest version, but they mail you your cartridges in a bag where you can send back and recycle those ink cartridges, because that is a good thing to do. Let's be good to planet Earth. All right, so there is a link from the lovely Heather Miracle, and yeah, like I said, it works for me. I don't want to sway you one way or the other and you hate it, but if you have more questions about this specific model, I can show it to you. It is like a printer scanner all in one, so I craft a lot and do some other things, and I was working from home for 16 months, so it came in handy to have all of those different things. So let me switch back and let's get to the fun of printing out these bad boys. So again, I'm in Microsoft Word, and I went up to the Layout tab, and I went to Margins, and I modified them to 0.3 or 0.3 of an inch in every direction. I already had that pre-done, but if you don't have, if you just go in and you've never done that before, you go down to custom margins, and then you can adjust the top, the left, the bottom, and the right. And then it'll move the image out to where we've got smaller margins. And now I'm just going to fill up this page and copy, paste. And now I can fit 15 bad boys on one sheet of paper. And I think there was a question from Jennifer about if I print on regular paper. So when I'm making cookie tags, I use cardstock. It's like the whatever your average cardstock is. You can get it when it's on sale at Hobby Lobby. You can get it, from any of your general office supply stores, Walmart, Target, whatever floats your boat. So yeah, I use cardstock, and I will go ahead and print this out. And I'll show you guys the punch and how I, mass produce these. Any other questions before I go from Microsoft Word? I know everyone's super excited to see it printed. But I mean, this is the gist of it. I just pop it into Word. I mean, I guess you could do it in PowerPoint or other things too. I just know I'm printing on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I want to get as many tags as I can. So because when we were in Canva, we used the 2.05 by 2.05 setting when we created our design, we have these itty bitty margins between the picture, and that'll be good for us when we use our handy dandy circle punch. So I already loaded some cardstock into my printer before we started, so I'm just going to print this bad boy out. And the OCD in me is really pissed that I can't fit one more row, but it is what it is. I have a 2-inch punch, and don't worry, I'll flip it around and show you guys what that is. If Fresia made commissions off of her Bodabra recommendation, maybe I'll get one off of this. I saw a lot of people asking in her live about how she got her circle tags and how she made them and stuff, and I was one of the people shouting, 2-inch punch, 2-inch punch, because if you don't have one of these, it's great. Speeds things up super fast, and it is fantastic. So if you just heard in the background, that was the printer going off, and flip you guys back around. So now we've got our page full of tags. And I did not practice tilting the camera in any other direction, so we'll see if this works. This is a 2-inch punch. This is the Fiskars model, Fiskars. But you can get these guys at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's. You can find them on Amazon. If you just search 2-inch punch, these should come up. And you can, they come in different sizes. So I use the 2-inch. I do have one that's a little bit smaller. It's like a random off-brand I got from Hobby Lobby. But anyway, there's a whole bunch of punch options out there. So the nice thing is it's got this window on it. So, your traditional hole punches that just pop out like a little teeny hole, you can't see it where you're at to line it up. So with this, you've got this space in here. So you're going to, and I'm sorry, this is a little awkward. I might have to flip my camera down here for you guys. But you just slide. And I've got a little bit of extra margin, so I'm just going to trim a little bit off. And now you can slide that circle right into, I'm not going to get it perfectly lined up while we're on camera. Nope, it's moving. But you just hold it in there and then you can line it up, and then when you squeeze, it's going to pop it out. So you've got a perfect circle with not a lot of effort, and you can just go right down the line and continue popping these out. So if I'm getting ready for like a pre-sale or a pop-up or things like that, I'll design all my stuff and then I'll print them out and I'll go sit on the couch with hubby and watch Netflix and, you know, punch out my circles and multitask business time with family time and all that good stuff. But it's pretty easy. And I think this tool is great. You're not having to fumble with, you know, getting that nice perfect circle with scissors. Obviously, if you have the time and patience and you just want to use scissors, you can cut these out that way. And I think there was a question. Sorry, we're starting to go wild in the comments here. Where did my mouse go? So yeah, the reason I did a 2.05 inch canvas in Canva is so that you get a little bit of margin between each picture. So when you download it as a picture, sorry, I'm a nerd. You're going to get just that little bit of space so that you can scoot the punch each time and not cut off. It's not going to overlap and cut off what you've made, your beautiful design. So that's the reason for the 2.05. And people are just now starting to laugh at me. So thanks for that. Yeah, because if you just did 2x2 and then you pop it in, you would either have to go into Word and like put a space or, you know, whatever. So that 2.05 size gives you that perfect circle so that you can move right along and punch these out. You can also make a square design in Canva, you know, in Canva. Let's pop back over here for just a second. So if you don't have the circle punch and you want to start making some tags while you wait for one, or, you know, you want to buy one or whatever, when you create that design, we can still do the 2.05, but when you go pick your basic shape that kind of gives you that outline that you're going to use, you can start with a square and you can make that up to 2 inches. And then if you just have like a paper trimmer, you can do that. There's triangles, any basic shape you want that you want to cut out, you can certainly use and let that be your inspiration. There's hexagons, all that kind of fun stuff. I do also have a Cricut, but I personally don't like to use that for cookie tags, because if you have a Cricut and you use the print then cut feature, you know that it cuts you off. Like your sheet of paper is 8.5 by 11, but you can only print and cut in like a 6 3/4 by 9 1/4 space. So to me, that just feels a little wasteful. And unless it's like super random or like a die cut kind of shape where I've, you know, made something that has random edges and designs, I stick to circles and squares. Those are super easy and go great with cards and boxes and things like that. So, you know, this is a time where it's good to be basic, but if you want to do fancier things, you certainly can. Let me check out the comments again. Can I do a cookie card, Virginia? You bet I can. We are approaching 8:50, so I am happy to stick around if folks want to. You're welcome to drop off as well. Hopefully, again, you've learned something and enjoyed hanging out with me tonight. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll definitely stick around and do a quick cookie card. But I do want to be mindful of everyone's time, so yeah. Fresia asked, what is the advantage to do this over Avery, to use Canva over Avery? Yeah, so my personal preference or reason for using Canva rather than Avery is that, one, I can download the Canva app, so I can design a tag or a card or whatever from my phone, from my iPad, from wherever. I don't have to be here at my desktop, and I don't have to be, you know, on a Wi-Fi connection to use it. And in the online version, I played around in the Avery template today, and I didn't see an option for an app. So if I'm wrong about that, please correct me. But I like the mobility and the freedom to use Canva wherever. Actually, a lot of times when I go treat myself to a pedicure, I'll sit in the pedicure chair for an hour, and I'll get a massage, and I'll make cookie cards. So yeah, the app version is great, and that's one of my main reasons that I liked Canva better. I also like designing just the single cookie tag, because then let's say I have several, you know, I might not have 15 back to school, you know, cookies that I've sold for my pre-sale or what have you, or maybe I make a few. Maybe I make one that's like geared for the students, and one that's geared for the teachers, and then I only sell 10 things. You know, I don't have to print a full page of this design and a full page of the other. I can clear these out, and I can throw in another tag, and I'll just use one that I already have created, but I think you're getting the point. Call me frugal, call me cheap, environmentally responsible, whatever you want to do. This was one I made like a long time ago, and you can see it's way too big, but I can resize it, and now I can print a combination of you know, tags and use it all on the same sheet. So anyhow, hopefully that is addressing everything that you guys are asking about. So we'll pop back into Canva really quick for the cookie card question. So I have made cookie cards in here, and again, the freedom, or I should say the limitations of Canva are your creativity. So if you want to design a 3-inch size you know, circle tag or whatever, you can come in here and do that. And the best way to do that is create a design and pick your own size, and then you can choose that width. So I'm going to go into one I've already made, because I did some cookie cards for Valentine's Day. And so that we can see the size that I used. Oh yeah. So when I do, this is a cookie card. When I do, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit maybe. When I do my pre-sales, I always include a thank you cookie, but I make like drop cookies. So it's not a, you know, a decorated sugar cookie that needs a cute card to go with it, or whatever. This one's just a generic thank you for your order. It's got my sprinkles and my branding colors and all that, and enjoy a cookie for the road. So I designed this here in Canva, and I'm not going to go through all the steps, because hopefully you guys are going to get into Canva yourself and become masters. But the key here is that you can make any size template you want, and I'm trying to figure out, so one thing I don't remember the size of this canvas. But I split it so that you get 4 cookie cards per, you know, sheet of paper. So an 8.5 by 11, I would have done 4.25 by 5.5. So I can maximize how many I get per sheet. Again, save the trees, folks. Which is ironic, because I work for a packaging company and we use a lot of trees. But I had already made that design, so I will just show you guys how you would throw that into Word as well. And we can flip our layout back around, and let me find that image. Or here's, let's see. Well, you'll get the idea. So I actually made this originally a little bit smaller, but again, you can resize, and you can get it to where you have like 4 per sheet. So these were, that one's not liking me. you can tweak around with it. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but again, just do a little bit of simple math and set up your Canva canvas so that you have, the size that you want when you import that picture into Word to print. And with a square, you don't need that little 0.5 margin, because when you print this out and you have a full sheet with 4 different cards on it, you can use just scissors or your, like a paper cutter and go straight down with a line, and you won't need the margin on that. So hopefully that helps give you an idea of how you can do cards as well. And again, you have the freedom to do whatever size you want. I'll show you one other one that I like to do. So if you saw the little picture I put in the event page earlier today, that, my kind of go-to quote is, "Kindness is free, sprinkle that stuff everywhere." So I use this little cookie card I made for minis, and when I do pop-ups in an area or like a vendor show that I haven't attended before, or in an area of northern Kentucky that I haven't really serviced yet, I always like to bring samples. That way folks have a chance to try my cookie. Yes, I'm giving it away for free, but to me that's an investment, and I can't tell you how many times I've gotten people to come back after walking away with that sample, and they try it 3 booths down and they're turning around and saying, "This was a great cookie, I want to buy more." So to me it's worth that investment. But this little sample card I print 4x2, or maybe a little bit larger than that, because then I can put my my cottage food labels on the back of the card. So I put the cookie in, I heat seal the mini cookie, so it's like a 2x2 inch cookie, and then it would go right in the center of that Kindness is Free card, and just use like double-sided tape to stick the bag with the cookie to the front, and then I can put my label on the back. Because in Kentucky we have to label everything, which is good. Labeling is important. So yeah, I feel like I just went way off track, but hopefully that was helpful and gave you guys some ideas or answered some of these questions. So let me pop back and see if I can address some, and hopefully folks are still hanging around. Letitia asked, if you custom design a label or card for a custom order, do you charge customer a fee for this? So yes. I do also use Canva to make bag toppers. So that would be like maybe like a 2-inch by a 4-inch, smaller piece that you're going to print and fold in half, and then it kind of sandwiches over that sealed bag. I think Fresia demonstrated that with hers, and I am not on my game enough to have made some samples to show you guys on the bags today, but if you really need some help, I can maybe make a quick video to post in the event after the fact or something. But yes, bag toppers, if I'm going to spend the time and customize, like when I do wedding orders, I've upsold the bag topper almost 90% of the time I have a wedding order. They'll pick a cookie that's, they're going to give away as a favor or something like that, and I'll make a custom bag topper that's, their names and their date and some cute little quote or something. Absolutely. I charge that into the final price. Miranda says, I've designed on the Avery website on my phone. Okay, that's good. I don't know if they have an app, but I did a sticker for my mother-in-law while I was in the car. Okay, great. So yeah, I guess that's true. You can just open up a browser on your phone and do it from there. I just wasn't sure how user-friendly that would be, because sometimes you go on a website and then, the mobile version isn't quite as user-friendly. So because Canva has the app, like, everything will work, all the windows will be in proportion, and it's pretty easy to use. So, good to know. Thanks for sharing, Miranda. Fresia is coming in hot with the questions. Thanks for being so engaged. She asked, can you design a second for the back of the tag and align them to print on the right side, like match the front and the back of a tag so you're printing two-sided? So I understand your question, and although I have personally not done that, I know there's a way, and I don't want to spend a lot of time droning on thinking about it. So I'll certainly play around with that. I think there's some other tools you could use that would make that job easier for you. And I'm a little bit of a computer nerd also, so I'll be happy to play around with it and see if I can come up with some tips that may help you guys in the future. Sorry, I don't have a better answer right now. Rebecca asked if I print my cookie cards on regular cardstock, and the answer to that is yes. I just buy the normal, I think it's 60 pound, which would be the most easy to find type of cardstock. You can get thicker, but the 60 pound works great in the printer and doesn't have any issues. Thank you guys for the kind words and comments. Did I create my label on Canva? So April, hopefully I'm saying that right, and if you're still around, so these are my cottage food labels, and I did not actually design the label itself in Canva. I did it in Word, but that is a great point. Let me pull up, I'm going to flip you guys around again, for anyone who's still hanging out, because it's after 9 o'clock. Holy moly, past my bedtime, guys. Just kidding, I have cookies to make, so it's not past my bedtime. But let me open this up really quick. Classic sugar cookie. Okay, so I buy my labels from Online Labels. OnlineLabels.com or Google Online Labels. They sell bulk sheets of labels and rolls of labels and all those good things. They have excellent customer service. They are very fast. They ship same day if you order before 5 p.m. Central, which is fantastic. So I found them when I first started investigating. Like I said at the beginning, I like to experiment and offer different types of flavors throughout the year. So I always have my classic sugar cookie, and then I have usually have a seasonal monthly option. So I set this up in Word when I first started, putting things together. And the Kentucky cottage food rules are, I'm just going to do one thing really quick and be somewhat cyber secure, I guess. I don't know if everyone's staring at my personal address here, but whatever. So I'll zoom in. So in Kentucky, we have to have our name, our address, which I just deleted. You have to have this statement which says this product is home produced and processed. Then you have to have the name of your item, and you have to have every ingredient, including subs. So like your sub ingredients. So instead of just putting flour, I have to have wheat flour, malted barley flour, everything that is in the flour product. Fun fact, I am actually a food scientist by trade. That's what I got my degree in. So if you want to learn more about what I used to do in my day job and ingredients, I could probably answer those kinds of questions. That's a whole different life. So we have to have our allergen statement, which is obviously very important. And then we have to have unit. So I print these blank unless I'm printing a whole bunch that were made at the same time and are the same quantity. But I have just blank sheets that are pre-made, and then I write in. So if it's a boxed, like if it's a custom order, and I made 2 dozen, then I'll write in 24 cookies and just put it on the box. And then I have to have the produced date. So yeah, I'm seeing some comments about Online Labels. They are fantastic. They are much cheaper than Avery. So if, again, not a competition, if you like Avery, great, keep doing you. But Online Labels is fantastic, and I actually pulled up their website. I reached out to them before this to see if they would throw a coupon code for us, and they said no, which is really sad because I wanted to be cool like Fresia and give you guys some discounts. But if you go to their landing page, they have coupons, so you can engage with them and get $5 off. But if you make a purchase from them or just sign up for their their emails and stuff like that, they send out codes all the time. So I buy them in bulk. I buy them 100 sheets at a time for the 4x2, which is for my my cottage labels, and you get 10 on a sheet. So it's 10 cents per page. So then it's 1 cent per label if you drill all the way down to that. And that's by purchasing them in quantities of 100. You can purchase less than 100 sheets if you think, oh my gosh, I'll never go through that, but I go through them like crazy because, again, I have to label everything here. So when I do a pop-up, I'm labeling every single cookie. It's fun times. What was the point of opening this? So someone asked a question, and I apologize, I don't remember who at this point. If I designed this label in Canva, I think was the question, and the answer is no. I was able to get everything to work within the label template inside of Word. But if you have, I know that the templates can sometimes be finicky. So if you can't get all of your text and everything to work out nicely, like maybe your logo is bigger and doesn't, fit in the corner, or you want to design it where it's all centered or something like that, you can definitely do the same thing in Canva. You can, my million windows open here. Again, you can pick that size that you want. So you would want it to be 4x2 or maybe just a little bit smaller so that you can create the label just with text and your logos or what have you, and then download that as a picture, and you can pop the picture into this space. So, my logo's up here and it's an image, but it's really small. But if I wanted to print something that was just a picture, I can utilize this template. It's basically just a table, which is keeping, what I've made in that space. So here's a paint your own cookie card I did. So if I made this out to 4x2 or what have you, then it's going to fit in that window. And that's how you can create the label in Canva. And then, because if in Canva, every thing that you put inside that design space is an element that you could move around. So again, if you need the text to line up in a different way or whatever, you could make this portion a text box and then this portion a text box and adjust them around so that you can have better control. That is a little bit of a limitation in the Microsoft Word label templates, but again, lots of cool things you can do in Canva and figure that stuff out. So I hope that made sense. April, I hope I'm also saying your name right, but if you got any other questions, let me know. Let me skim through here one more time. Oh, there's more food scientists. That is awesome. What's up, Emily? Nanette in Florida has the same thing. Yeah. Folks with every state's different. So folks that have different cottage food laws, I see folks who have they just do one flavor cookie, and that's great. But they have like the stamp, and then they can just like stamp their bags. I sometimes wish I could do that, but again, I like the flexibility of being able to have more flavors. I just have to roll with the punches and have all of my different labels ready. So folks are buying their labels on Amazon as well. Yeah, I mean, once you find that size, whatever size label works for you. I also order circles from Online Labels, and I put my logo on it. This is, I think, 1.67. It's not quite a 2-inch, but this one I just put my logo on since my logo is easy. It's just a circle, and I print sheets of these, so I put them on all of my custom order cookie boxes and things like that. So Online Labels is great. They have all different sizes. You can order just full blank sheets. So again, if you want to use your Cricut and make fun stickers or other things, very cool. Highly recommend them. Alrighty, I'm starting to see things slow down, and it looks like folks are trickling off too and getting back to their lives. So I'll hang around for a minute and I'll be happy to answer any more questions. But it kind of seems like we've hopefully hit the highlights and what you came to learn. So thanks again for being here, guys. I hope you learned something and go put it to use and keep upping those packaging games and killing it out there in the cookie world wherever you guys are from. So thanks again for being here. And again, if you missed it at the beginning, I will be at CookieCon Orlando. So if you guys are too, then say hey. I have some cool giveaways and all that fun stuff. So I'm Kate Landacre. My last name is just like it looks, Land plus Acres, not anything fancy, but my Instagram / my business is Kate Land, so Kate Land as one word, Bakes, Caitlin Bakes. Thanks you guys. And again, I'll hang out for a minute, so if you have other questions, pop them in, and I can probably spend another 15 or so minutes before I gotta go decorate some cookies. So thanks everybody, have a good night. April, am I printing my labels at home or from online labels? So yeah, I have a printer at home and I am printing here. If you scroll back up through the comments, I think some folks captured a link to the printer I have. It is an HP Office Pro 8025. So it's not anything super fancy. It works for me, but it is an at-home printer. But if you design things in Canva, Online Labels does have the option to fill a sheet and purchase it from them. So again, if you have either a logo, sticker like this, something you're going to fill up the whole sheet and you need several copies of it, you can definitely send it to them and they'll print it. And for anyone still listening, another reason I love Online Labels is because they are way cheaper than Avery. I may have already said that, but I looked today and this sheet of 10 4-inch by 2-inch labels that I use for my cottage food labels are $10 and change for 100 sheets from Online Labels, and it was $23 for the same amount, same size from Avery. So you got to make those dollars work for you. Yeah. All right, the airwaves are going silent, so I'm not seeing any more questions, but thanks again, you guys. This was super fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I look forward to your additional questions and comments for any folks who are watching the replay. Again, make sure you put any questions that weren't addressed in the comments